Is this thing on? Hello? Tap tap. Can you hear me? Toilet water. Ow. Hello everyone, welcome back to Bloxburg News. I am your quote-unquote news reporter, PeetahBread, or just PeetahBread, yes. And I have some interesting tea news for you guys today. So Froggy Hops and the community managers, Mari and Bramp, came together to answer a lot of your guys' questions on a Discord call. I was actually asleep during the whole thing, so I'm kind of fake. But yeah, they answered a lot of questions and it was recorded by Bram, so thanks to Bram for providing this beautiful audio of everything. But this Q&A session was like an hour long, and honestly, if I just flat out put the whole hour thing in it, it would be kind of, it's not very attention span friendly, so I'm gonna try my best to make it a little bit more attention span friendly. So I'm going to be quote unquote asking questions, which I'm not actually asking the questions. I'm gonna have Froggy, Mari, and Bram. I'm gonna make their avatars, put them right here, and act like I'm asking them questions for full transparency. I'm not actually interviewing them. I would like to go ahead and introduce our first guest speaker, Lil Mari, one of our community managers. You look a little different today, but that's okay. I think it's just a face thing, you know? Anyways. So this first question is quite crazy, pretty important one, I might add. A lot of people on the social media have been thinking you've been spelling the word hey wrong. Anything to say about that?
Yes. So the question we are asked the most is hey with like a J a typo? No, it's not. It's just hello in Swedish. So whenever somebody comments like, oh, you guys made a typo. No, it's not a typo. That's how we say hello in Sweden.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and welcome our next guest, Froggy, who will be answering this next question about the map revamp. And that pretty much is everyone's question itself. Like, what is going on with that? What is the status of it? We've been hearing about this. How's that going? You can walk up now. Oh, he got the wrong colored eye. Okay, I told him to change his contacts. He's got the contact in the right eye now. Okay.
What is the status of the map revamp? Why did we announce it earlier this year? What are the plans for it? What buildings will remain the same? Will they be different? Where is that map that we mentioned? Well, as you guys probably realized, things did not go according to our initial plans. And kind of pulling back the curtains on our development, we started working on the new map with our team last year. We initially hoped to deliver it at the beginning of this year. And then as we got further into that process, we moved our internal planned delivery date to around May. So it was actually supposed to come before our free-to-play launch. It was going to be the update leading up to that. But as we really started evaluating it, and obviously a map is a super important change. I mean, that's the foundation for a lot of the future development that we have planned. We became pretty self-critical, and even after working on this map for many months, we weren't happy with the results. It definitely didn't meet our own expectations, which means it probably wouldn't meet yours either. And our team kind of reset the slate, so to say. We went back to the drawing board trying to learn from the process, and we took a look at how we were approaching it as well as our team composition. And as some of you in the community, I know you're watching our every move very closely. We actually had a new addition to our team that started with us this week, Never Trust Bob. And he is our new environment artist. He comes with some really exciting experience on the platform, and he's really good at creating immersive game worlds. But we're essentially back at the start. What we're doing with the map, we're wanting to make sure what we're delivering meets our own expectations. Such a major change is going to take a while for us to deliver. Ultimately, our goal is to bring you guys the new map next year. Obviously, the sooner we can get it out, the better. But we want to make sure that we're taking the time accordingly to deliver something so important. As soon as we have more of our specific plans and some estimated timelines, you'll definitely be hearing from us on those. But maps take a very long time. I think some of the maps that you guys probably see in other games, those take anywhere from 6 to 12 months. So it wouldn't be shocking if we're looking at around the same timeline. That is the heavy-hitting one on the map revamp.
Wow, very informative. I appreciate that so much. But there you have it, guys. That is the current status of the revamp. And pretty much, yeah, the previous map that they were working on since like last January, it just wasn't good enough. So they had to scrap it and they're gonna start new. It's crazy to think that it was supposed to come out like before the game became free. Like that was the original plan, but it just didn't make the cut. So if the developers themselves see that the map isn't good, then obviously the players wouldn't either. So good call, honestly good call. I would rather they take the time to make a brand new map and be satisfied with it. All right, Bram, please go ahead and step up to the seat. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Will Bloxburg have more plots, and will there be more plot types? Which I'm sure Mari can answer that question, but how's that going?
Is Bloxburg adding other types of plots? That's also a very common question. We've seen you guys asking for apartments, for islands, and we would love to have that. But first we want a new map in place. We are definitely going to look into more options after that.
One question that we get asked a lot is, will there be more types of plot locations, such as near the coast, cliffs, and etc.? And we do want the game to have all kinds of settings and locations to spark creativity and showcase all types of play creations, especially with our future map and environment changes. So it's a yes.
We're on our third question now, and a lot of builders are wondering this question, myself included, because this is such an important thing. But will there be hollow roofs? Will there be skylights or attics or anything like that? A lot of us really want those hollow gable roofs, you know, like, I mean, hollow roofs for every roof type would be great. So how's that going?
So we're definitely hoping to overhaul our roofing system at some point, but it's actually one of the most complex systems that the game has. Obviously, you don't see the complexity of the game in the same eyes that we do. We're at a few 100,000 lines of code now, and the way that a roofing system works is it's basically teaching a computer how to draw shapes and geometry from scratch. And when you try to make those shapes more complex, of course, all the math and everything that makes that function equally complex. So we definitely want to add things like hollow roofs, and we want to find a way to incorporate skylights too. The platform has actually been working on a new feature, which those of you that follow more of the technical side of Roblox, they're releasing a new feature that's out now called editable meshes. And we're hoping that we're going to be able to utilize some of their new technologies to rework and deliver some changes like this. But we don't know exactly when that'll come.
All right, so moving on to our fourth question. Will there be different types of like public transportation? Because for people who don't own vehicles or just can't afford them, will there be like a bus or something within the map to transport us to these locations, or any ideas on that?
And yes, we would love to add that. We don't have like a specific time frame yet, but would love to add public transport on the new map.
Yes, so that includes, for example, buses that you can take to somewhere. So a lot of you have been asking for fast cars and bigger limousines. And while we would love to add that, it's currently not great on the map that we have if you want to drive somewhere fast. We do have a highway, but we want to wait with that again until we have the new map, so you can fully utilize the car, as they will also cost a lot because of their option. We are going to wait with that, and we do plan on adding some other cars in the meanwhile.
Thank you so much for that, Brad. That was very, very nice. Okay, the next question is, will there be hospitals? Because before you guys took out the whole fainting fee and stuff and the feature, most of us probably wouldn't have minded that feature unless there was like a hospital building added. So any news on a hospital coming to the game potentially?
Yes, we would love to add a hospital and other like emergency kind of buildings too. Popular city locations that would bring a lot to the gameplay and immersion for roleplays. We do not have a timeline for this, and it will not be part of our initial map like the future one we're going to have, but it's definitely something that we plan for the future.
Okay, this is also a super important question, as most of these are. Will we be able to select multiple objects? Because, you know, moving multiple things is very time consuming, and I would like to select multiple things.
That one is pretty hard to implement, so currently we don't really have a timeline for that.
So now that we know that Froggy is the game director now and the studio manager, as a community, how can you guys gain our trust back? What are your plans to achieve that?
One of the biggest ways that you saw myself and our team talk about in some of our communications last week is we plan on improving our communications and being more transparent with you guys. Those that have been around the game for a long time myself included, we definitely haven't done a great job in being open and sharing kind of where we're going, why we're doing certain things. So that's something that we really want to focus on, and we want to make sure that you guys feel heard and that ideas you have are either being discussed or incorporated. So if we're adding something, we'll let you know. If we're not, we want to share why that's not being added and what the justification for that decision is. We want the game to feel like it's something that all of us, both players and developers, feel connected to and have fun playing.
Another amazing question that everyone has is what's going on with the donation limits? What can we see being changed with that if there's a possibility? I mean, I'm sure most of us know why the donation limits was changed, but can you tell us a little bit more about how that's going and stuff?
There used to be no limit, and that was very easy for exploiters to donate glitched money to other players, causing them to be banned. So we are looking into the donation limit and the cooldown, as it's not the best system, and we admit that. And we will address that hopefully in the near future. And then same thing with lag and optimization. We're always trying our best to make the game the best experience for everyone. And we are trying our best to keep improving there as well.
We have a lot of vehicles in this game. I was wondering if there's going to be more types of vehicles, like kind of like boats and planes and stuff, because, you know, we have a lot of cars, which is great. People want to see more like a variety of vehicles that are just not ground-based, maybe like water, maybe some in the air.
Definitely, but we also don't have a timeline on when these are coming. We're just as excited about being able to explore the game in all kinds of vehicles, and we feel like that really matches with our vision of creating a life simulation game. And we hope that this is going to happen with some of our future map changes, but it's not coming just yet.
A lot of us have been wondering about the whole pre-built catalog thing. I'm sure many people want to upload their own creations to it, and I know it's quite a bit, but how's that looking?
So that's definitely our goal. Our long-term vision for our pre-built catalog has always been for players to have the ability to upload their own or purchase plots by other creators. Unfortunately, it's something that in order to roll this out at scale, we need something that the platform doesn't currently have. That is the feature of being able to essentially capture a screenshot, so generating images of your creations when uploading them to our catalog. The engine, for those that are more tech savvy, has a feature called viewports, which for those that aren't as tech savvy, that's what we use to preview the items in the catalog. But this is something that it has a lot of limitations as well, and it's not good for performance. So when we're rendering things like entire houses, it wouldn't really work well. It also isn't great with things like lighting and can't show things like particles. If you had like flames or confetti or other things there. Probably seen some other games that have catalogs like this, but the difference is they're manually curating and uploading those. And we don't think that this is a good long-term solution for our team to have to manage all that. Ultimately, we want it to be pretty automated. So it's definitely something that we're wanting to do. We've had a number of discussions with the platform on our request and the changes that we need for this to be a future option. And we know some other developers are also having the same discussion benefit too. So we're hoping that as the platform continues to work with us, we will eventually be able to bring public uploads to the pre-built catalog.
Okay, so there's actually been one job that's been revamped, which is the Bloxburg job. There's so many like roles and positions on that. Are you guys looking into doing more with the other jobs and reworking those? Because obviously I think every job needs an overhaul.
And of course, we are planning to rework some other jobs as well down the line, but we didn't want to focus all development on those jobs and add some new things in the meanwhile as well. But we are going to be delivering more jobs and mixed with more fun, as we do want to make working more fun.
Yeah, following what Bram just said, it's pretty much the same idea for the skills as well. We intend to overhaul the game skills to include like more unique gameplay and immersion, and also different rewards such as unique furniture and items. We have main ideas and some of course from the community feedback and internal brainstorms, such as the ability to play instruments with other players, having a better cooking skill that requires ingredients to complete recipes, and like other fun opportunities. But we also don't have any specific timeline on these, but we know that this would be so fun to do, so that's for the future.
Okay, this is for the builders here. Will there be more plot data? Because some people already like reached their limits, you know, so.
More plot data. We have a lot of amazing builders out there who are stuck with their plot data. And we did add 40% in the past, but that was because Roblox servers were evolving. However, adding even more plot data is kind of reliant on Roblox, and we do hope that in the future there will be more opportunities to add more plot data, but for now it's going to have to be a no just because of our limitations on the platform as well.
So Bloxburg itself is pretty limited on its lore. We had a few things with Tom, we had a few things with like Boomer, I guess, with like him missing and stuff, and like kind of like Sabrina the Witch and all of those other characters that show up sometimes during the season. But does Bloxburg have any plans to add any more lore or like story to this game just to make it more interesting, like immersion and stuff?
Oh my god, lore is just amazing. We pretty much discuss lore every day here within the team. And we do think the game doesn't have enough personality and story to immerse our players in. We are working on long term on bringing more unique gameplay and personality to our NPC characters, creating storylines and interactions with them, and making Bloxburg have a story that you can become a part of while playing. So that's going to be very, very exciting. We really looking forward to more into the game.
Okay, this is a pretty important one. Will there be gifting of currency or game passes in Bloxburg? Because I feel like that's such a good idea. That'd be great to be able to give people these game passes.
We are hoping to add that early next year, so you won't be able to gift game passes for Christmas yet, but if you save up your Robux, you can gift to friends early next year as a late Christmas present, I guess.
Okay, this is a really controversial but also a really interesting question, but will you guys be adding pets? Because I would love to have my own, you know, dog, cat, maybe a hamster or something, because I know there's a lot of pet owners that play Bloxburg, and it would be interesting to see how they work in this game. Obviously, people don't want it to be like Adopt Me with trading and stuff, so how do you guys plan on making your guys' pets, you know, different, if you were to add them, of course?
We do want to add pets in the game, but we don't want to make it like where the pet is just following your avatar. We actually want to bring them into the real life aspect of the game and into the simulation so that you can actually work with features, that you can feed them. So adding a lot more complexity to that. And that's why we haven't added them yet, is because we really want to do it well and do it right. Also want to bring in like different breeds, different sizes. So we want to make it more than just a pet following your avatar.
Okay, so this is similar to like selecting multiple objects in build mode, but will we be able to move full-on builds or like on our plot? Are we able to adjust the builds that we currently have on our plot, or is that just like kind of difficult to do?
The problem is this feature is a pretty complex one to deliver due to how our building system works and saves your creations currently. But we are hoping that long term we can find better ways, such as like this suggestion to relocate entire buildings on a plot to edit your builds but easier. But yeah, it's a complex system. So
since Bloxburg became free, how are scammers and exploiters being handled? Because I feel like obviously when you make a game free, there's a lot more like bots and sketchy people that join the game. So how are they being dealt with? Because I know some people are scared with being donated glitched money and stuff and other things. How is that going?
We have a number of systems in place that will detect anything wrong, and a lot of you are scared to get banned for no reason. That rarely ever happens, so I just want to make that very clear. One thing that is fear of players is that they will get donated glitched money. Now you will never get permanently banned for that. I just want to add to that if you want to be extra secure, be careful with who you are giving co-owner to, and also with donations. And if you go into the game settings, you can actually turn donations off if you are scared to get donated glitched money.
So from the summer festival, we saw like a little bit of a preview of like new cultural foods being added and kind of like this cultural food festival in the park. Will there be more cultural things added into the game, such as like, you know, new furniture items or even more types of foods?
yes, we definitely want to include more items reflecting different cultures and backgrounds, both with foods and items. We want to be very careful in our planning though and make sure that we accurately represent these different cultures in meaningful ways. And we're also always looking for suggestions, so please keep them coming. We love to know like different foods and different items from your culture, so please suggest them.
Okay, so this is a hard-hitting question. Does Coeptus still work on Bloxburg? Like, is he still around?
Obviously, he's our founder, the OG Bloxburg developer. So unfortunately, he's not actively working on the game full time. He was working alongside our team last year as we transitioned to being a part of Coffee Stain. So he was really vital in helping our new team learn all of the complex systems that many of which he wrote and created. But now he's taking some time to focus on some other aspects of his life, since before that he was quite honestly only developing. He was spending night and day focused on the game, and obviously that's not good for his well-being. But he does definitely continue to still stay in touch with us. He's our biggest cheerleader, and he also is helping us directly with consulting. So he still weighs in on the game's vision, our roadmap, and our future plans. He's still there on speed dial when we need help fixing things, and he also weighs in how we're operating. So he's still involved, just not to the full extent.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That is wild. Oh, I'm glad to know he's still lingering. So now that we know that, another fun question is, do you guys have any plans to revamp and replace the old items that we have in build mode? Because there are some outdated items in this game.
We definitely want to take some time to revamp some of the items that feel pretty outdated. We also want to take the time to replace assets that have historically been used from the Roblox catalog. You can see some of the different meshes or objects are directly from objects that the platform's had for a long time. Over time, we're wanting to replace those so that all of our content featured in the game is our own unique objects. Definitely plans to continue replacing those.
Okay, so long time ago, Coeptus tweeted out poll pretty much asking us what color should our grass be when the Halloween/fall update came. I was wondering if you guys were planning on doing some more polls like that, just so you can get the community more involved with these updates and kind of get their opinions and stuff, because I feel like that's just one way to really connect with them.
We definitely want to bring that back. We definitely want to add your opinion to Bloxburg and value your opinion. And we think voting on content in the future will definitely help with that.
I feel like this one's going to be a little bit weird, because you know how people already don't like towing fees and painting fees, but do you guys plan on having some realism with the vehicles by making us purchase gas for the cars that we own, or is that something that's just like, you know, people are gonna hate it? Maybe there could be an option, you know, there could be an option for this too, I don't know.
And we think the suggestion is very fun, and it's definitely something we're considering, especially as we look into future plans on how we can improve the immersion when driving vehicles in game.
So you know that Bloxburg has 12 players limited to public servers. Will we be able to see an increase in that someday in the future, or is that just like really difficult to do? 12 is quite low in a way, if you think about it.
So this is definitely something that we've continued to talk about over the years, and we really want to do. We would love for you to have more people to play with and engage with, interact with, especially for things like role plays or hosting events, showing off your builds. So we need to figure out some kind of core game changes and optimizations to make this happen. So for example, there's maybe only going to be a limited number of plots like in neighborhoods, but more players, and it's difficult for some players to get around because right now they don't have access to vehicles or other things, improve their gameplay when they don't have a plot. So it's something that we would love to raise the number of players featured in servers, and we definitely have a strong belief that this will be beneficial. But there's some other steps that we need to take first, so it's definitely planned.
So for us builders and like interior designers and stuff, for decals, we usually are pretty lazy to like do that, including myself, especially me. Will we be able to change the decals while we're in build mode someday?
So obviously this is something that would benefit all of you builders out there. Hopefully one day, but we don't have a timeline for this quite yet. We're looking at all sorts of kind of quality of life changes that we can give our builders while you're editing those creations. So things such as opening or closing your doors while you're in build mode, setting decal IDs, turning on and off your lights. So definitely a lot that can be improved there, and something that we are focusing on.
Oh, that's really interesting. Okay. So for my next one is, will there be like special weekend events or anything kind of like, you know, bonus XP or increased earnings like for the weekends and stuff? Because I feel like that would be a great way for players to join the game and stuff, to earn more money on the weekends, or like increased XP like level up jobs faster.
And we really love the idea of these, and we think they'll be very fun, so it's definitely something we're considering for the future.
Can you give us an idea of how many employees you have on the Bloxburg team?
Grown our team pretty significantly from starting as one and then eventually 2 people. So currently our team is at 11 people. So we're currently working on hiring and expanding a few different aspects of the team. I also wanted to just touch on what are the different roles of game development and what those mean. So right now I'm serving as our studio manager and game director, meaning that what I do is I work with our team every day to make sure that the roadmap and plans are meeting the game's overall vision and the needs for our players. And then I also work on things like more behind the scenes, so business developments, conveying any issues or requests that we have to the Roblox platform. Also looking at potential collaborations, which we'll touch on, and making sure that obviously our team is getting paid. No one wants to work for free. So we have one game designer. They're responsible for designing the core features and systems. So for example, the new public neighborhood change, the gameplay revamp for the Bloxburg job last year, also setting different elements like the pricing or the qualities that our objects have in the catalog. We also have 2 3D artists. Those are the ones that are working on the modeling to bring any ideas and need life for the game. So all of your different furniture, things like vehicles, all of those really exciting assets. Also on our design team is our animator. So that's the one who's bringing some life and fun to our different objects and all of our interactions, different emotes, things on that front. And then lastly on the design side is our environment artist, which I touched on earlier, joined our team this week, or world designer, if that makes it easier to understand. He's the one that will be working on creating the map, some of the different environment changes for seasonal events or activities, the environment that the game itself is all taking place in.
And then outside of the design team, we have Mary and I, who are community managers. We run things such as the content creator program. We take in your suggestions and bug reports and we test them in the game and then report them to the team. We sometimes handle in-game reports. We test updates, we make content, and everything you see on the surface. And then in addition to us as community managers, we also have other disciplines. So we have 3 programmers. They are the ones who make sure that everything works, such as recently the neighborhoods that were added. And they do more of the behind the scenes work, basically. So they also fix bugs.
Oh, okay, that's really good. Okay, what about opening windows?
Now, this means that we would have to rework all of the windows that already exist in the game because they currently do not have that function. So while we're not adding it soon, we may do it in the future, but it's not on a timeline right now. For now, you'll have to stay in your closed off houses.
I'm sure most people have been asking this, but why don't you guys give exact like release dates or specific release times? Because there's a lot of other games that do like countdowns and stuff, and I'm sure many players are asking this. They're probably wondering, why can't Bloxburg these countdowns or give us release dates?
This is a question that we get a lot, and we definitely understand why. But because of the nature of development, it's often extremely risky on our end to lock in to a given time. And this also adds some stress to our team. So some games that you might be seeing doing this already have often completed their content weeks or maybe even months in advance, so that they can release at that very specific time and make sure that everything works. We currently have the belief that it's more important to get our content out to all of you faster, but this means that it's not really realistic to target exact specific times. We of course have targets and projections that we try to hit. But there's cases where we have to adjust our plans, where sometimes we might have to push things off a week because we haven't promised that. It's not necessarily a major change. For example, last week, we of course were aiming to release in our usual window of Thursday. We had some issues come up when we were doing final testing that we didn't want to put the game out in a state that wouldn't be fun for you guys to use the new feature. So we made the decision to release on Friday instead, and we want to continue, at least for the future, right now to have that flexibility.
So you guys did increase job payments and stuff. A lot of people are still wondering, why have the jobs changed to this whole efficiency method and whole overall job level thing?
The changes to our jobs were actually really important for us behind the scenes. So starting with the efficiency system, we felt before there was a pretty wide variation in terms of the outcomes of shifts and jobs, meaning that it was really hard to both predict and balance and really control this on our end, leading to very different experiences for our players, which the more we can try to dial that in, the better. So that's something that it really creates a lot of, I guess, issues on our end. And making the change to going for this efficiency system allows us to actually work and create new jobs or overhaul the existing ones in a much faster pace. So this was more of a necessary change that we needed to make in order to be efficient. And then regarding the overall work experience level, the biggest reason and the driver behind this and why we feel so strongly behind it is we want to make sure our players don't feel like you're ever locked into one particular job track, that obviously you've spent a lot of time progressing in it, but we don't want you missing out on the future content. So say that we add some super cool or exciting job, you're sitting there on your pizza scooter and you're like, wow, it looks way more fun at Bloxburg right now. I also want to go fry things or chop things. We don't want you to feel like you're either missing out on that, or if you go and participate, starting all the way back at the bottom of the totem pole per se in terms of how much money you're making. So with this change, we want to make sure that you're still being paid accordingly for all the time that you spent working hard in the game, but you also have the flexibility to choose what jobs you're working and spending your time doing. And in the future, like we've all been talking about, as we add more reward gameplay to these overhauled jobs, that you can still benefit from those and get those without the same level of grinding to really benefit.
Oh, good points, good points. The whole premium thing. I know there's a lot of perks with the premium Game Pass. I was wondering if there's going to be more perks added to it just so some players feel like it's more worth to own it.
We definitely intend to expand the perks for our premium players, but we do not have any specifics we can promise. But over time, we'll definitely see some changes.
Okay, many people are speculating and spreading misinformation on why you guys went free. Some people see it as a money grab. Some people see it in a very negative way. Why'd you guys go free?
So even in the days of it just being Kleptus and I working on the game, we always had the intention of Bloxburg going free to play. One of the main reasons that we kept the paywall for as long as we did was that it really allowed us an easier way to keep out people such as exploiters or bots or some of the bad actors on the platform. The platform's been making some pretty significant improvements. So for those that follow their Bifron development and acquisition, they've really helped us kind of change our decision on that front. And then additionally, as the platform evolves, the way that new players discover our game, so the platform's algorithms and where it's being shown to new people and kind of how that impacts our marketing, because we were a paid access game, it was negatively impacting us a lot more than I think most of you realize, where we saw that it was almost necessary for us to really make that change in order to get the game in front of more people. We obviously want to keep growing our player base to sustain our business, as well as give you guys more opportunities to meet more people, continue to grow the player base in our community, which we think is a lot of fun. And we decided that because of those factors, it became necessary. We did initially want some other changes that would have added some flavor. So for example, the map being a huge one, that was something that we were hoping would sequence out, but because of the other things that came into play, it just didn't pan out the way we wanted it to. In the end, we decided we still needed to make the game free to play because of the other opportunities.
So now that we got a lot of the juicy questions out of the way, what can we expect for like the vision for the game for the rest of the year and like long term? Do you have any little sneak peeks you want to give us for the next update, for like if it's possible like Halloween or like Christmas? Because I feel like those are kind of like the more popular updates.
Our Halloween content this year, so that is 100% planned. We're so excited for what we're bringing this year. We're trying a different approach for how we're approaching our seasonal events. So both our Halloween and then our winter releases, those are both planned as always. The intention is to still keep the beloved elf hunt too. And if you haven't participated in that, we're hoping that it's going to be an even better experience than before this year. But I guess one important thing to touch on is because of the timing and some of these major things that we're trying with the team size that we have, we're not planning on releasing something in the early part of November. So you'll see our Halloween changes in the first part of October, so it gives you time to enjoy the content before obviously the holiday. And then between that and the start of December, you're going to see us focusing on our December content. We're also planning on having a New Year's release, which I don't want to give away too much, but right now the intentions are to deliver a new location on the current map so that you get some new content there. And we'll definitely be coming out with more information on that in the future. Talking about the plans for early next year, this is something where I don't want to spoil too much, but one major change that we're working on is overhauling the entire visuals of the game, meaning our interface. The thought of an interactive phone, that's definitely something that we're trying to pivot our visuals for in the UI so that you will have a usable phone and that it really ties into the immersion of the game itself. This is something that we've been working on since January of this year. And then we're also working on some audio changes, which you're going to start seeing some of those in our October content. And hopefully early next year, you'll hear some of our other audio changes, which we're extremely excited about.
Okay, so early this year we got the content creator program, and there's like about a handful of us right now. A lot of people are wondering if there will be an expansion on that, if there's going to be even more content creators added to this program.
And we definitely want to expand the content creator program over time, and we cannot wait to actually bring on creators from different countries as well. We just need to work out some logistics on our end, especially with the language barrier. I know not everybody speaks English, so that's the tricky bit for us. But we're committed to making everyone feel included. So that's the only problem we have right now. But we're definitely going to expand it in the future.
Okay, last question, okay? When's the school? When is the Bloxburg school coming?
We would love for the school to have actual gameplay rather than it just being a building for you guys. So we're looking at how we can include elements like different classes, the activities that those have, some other elements to really make it an immersive experience. But the difficult part of this is the amount of time that it takes and what that means in being able to deliver other content while we work on that. So right now, similar to our controller support and our console port, we're working to look at other options and how we can supplement our team, potentially working with one of our other studios to help us in really delivering this content sooner than later, since we have so many exciting things that we want to work on. Yes, to the school, we just don't have an exact timeline on when that's coming yet.
And there you have it, folks. This was quite an interview. This was like held in a Discord call. Some people were like typing up questions and stuff. So I decided to make it into an interview style for the video. But yeah, that is most of the questions. I think if not all, maybe most of the hard-hitting questions were answered. Once again, thank you to Bram for providing this audio. I'm excited for what the future is to come for Bloxburg, and thoughts and opinions, let me know in the comments section down below. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!